Have you ever looked at your life and thought, am I losing my mind? Or maybe the people around you have been saying things like, you've changed. What's wrong with you? If that sounds familiar, let me stop you right there. You're not going crazy. You're awakening. What you're experiencing is a transformation that can feel like chaos, but is actually the process of coming home to your true self. It's messy, disorienting, and even terrifying at times, but it's also the most beautiful chaos you'll ever experience. Spiritual awakening can feel like you're standing on shaky ground, questioning everything you once believed was solid. The old you is fading, and a new, truer version is emerging. This journey can be so intense that it feels like losing your sanity. But here's the truth. You're not broken, and you're not alone. Let's explore what's happening to you, why it feels this way, and how you can embrace this transformation without fear. So, what exactly is happening to you? Why does it feel like you're in free fall without a parachute? Spiritual awakening is a profound shift in your perception of reality. It's like waking up from a long dream and realizing there's more to life than the surface-level existence you've been living. You're beginning to see through the illusions of the world, the identities, roles, and beliefs you once held so tightly. This shift often feels chaotic because your sense of self, which we call the ego, is fighting to survive. The ego is the part of you that identifies as me. It's the story you've built around yourself. Your name, your job, your relationships, your achievements, and even your failures. Awakening is the process of peeling back those layers to uncover the deeper truth of who you really are. Infinite, eternal consciousness. The chaos you're feeling isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something beautiful is being born. Think of it like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar completely dissolves before it can take on its new form. You're in that cocoon phase. It's messy, it's confusing, and it feels like everything is falling apart. But soon, you'll spread your wings. When you're going through a spiritual awakening, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. Everything about your life starts to feel unfamiliar. You might feel disconnected from the people and things that once brought you comfort. You begin questioning everything, your beliefs, your purpose, and even the nature of reality itself. This questioning is a natural part of the process, but it can leave you feeling adrift. Heightened emotions are another hallmark of awakening. You may find yourself crying for no apparent reason or experiencing waves of overwhelming joy. One minute, you're filled with a deep sense of peace. The next, you're gripped by anxiety or sadness. It's as if your entire emotional spectrum has been dialed up. This is your inner self releasing old patterns and making space for something new. On top of that, you may experience physical symptoms like headaches, fatigue, or even a buzzing sensation in your body. These aren't signs of illness. They're signs of transformation, which I like to call ascension symptoms. Your body is adjusting to the new energy moving through you. People around you might not understand what you're going through. They might say things like, "You're acting differently," or "Why are you so distant?" But their confusion doesn't mean you're crazy. It means you're changing, and that's okay. One of the most intense parts of a spiritual awakening is what's often called ego death. The ego is like a mask you've worn your whole life, but during awakening, that mask begins to crumble. The stories you've told yourself, I am this, or I am that, start to lose their grip. This can feel terrifying because the ego is deeply attached to its identity. Ego death feels like a loss of control. It's as if the ground beneath you is shifting and you can't find solid footing. But what's really happening is that the false self, the part of you that believes it's separate from everything else, is dissolving. This isn't a death to fear. It's a death that leads to freedom. Imagine you've been living in a dark room your whole life, and suddenly someone opens the curtains. The light is blinding at first, but once your eyes adjust, you can finally see the beauty outside. This process isn't about losing yourself. It's about finding the self that's always been there, hidden beneath the layers of ego. It's like waking up from a dream and realizing you've been asleep your entire life. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's also profoundly liberating. So, how do you navigate this transformation without feeling completely overwhelmed? First and foremost, accept the process. Stop resisting what's happening. The more you fight it, the harder it gets. Trust that everything you're experiencing is part of a greater plan. You don't have to understand it all right now. You just have to trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Once you awaken, there is no going back. Let me be clear about this. Awakening is not a temporary experience or a passing phase. It's a permanent shift in consciousness. Once you've seen the truth, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to the old ways of thinking, living, or being, not without significant inner conflict and suffering. If you try to return to the comfortable patterns of your old life, you're going to have a bad time. Why? Because your soul knows better now. It's like a bird that has been freed from its cage. It can't pretend the cage is home anymore. Your soul is pulling you forward, out of the bubble of illusion you once lived in, and any attempt to resist that pull will feel like swimming upstream against a powerful current. The things that once brought you comfort, distractions, attachments, or old habits will no longer satisfy you. Instead, they will feel hollow, like eating food with no flavor. This isn't a punishment. It's the natural consequence of growth. Awakening is irreversible because it's not about adding something new to your life. It's about uncovering the truth that was always there. Once that truth is revealed, it's impossible to pretend you don't know it. This is why surrender is so important. The sooner you embrace this new state of being, the easier it becomes to navigate. Fighting it will only prolong the discomfort, but flowing with it will lead you to a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. This journey is permanent, but it's also the most liberating thing you'll ever experience. This is not a quick fix method or an instant transformation. Awakening is not like flipping a switch. It's more like climbing a mountain, slow, steady, and filled with twists and turns. This process doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds in cycles, with moments of clarity followed by periods of confusion. There will be highs when you feel deeply connected to the universe and everything makes sense, and there will be lows where you feel lost, frustrated, or even like you're going backward. For many of you, this journey will take years. Each layer of awakening reveals deeper truths, and each layer requires time to process, integrate, and embody. You have to be patient with yourself and the process. The soul moves on its own timeline, not the one your mind thinks it should follow. So don't rush it. Transformation is like planting a seed. You can't force it to grow overnight. It needs time, nourishment, and trust. The same is true for you. Embrace the gradual unfolding and know that every step, no matter how small, is leading you toward your higher self. Grounding practices can help you feel more stable during this time. Meditation is a powerful tool. Even if it's just sitting quietly for 5 minutes a day, it can help you observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them. Spending time in nature is another way to reconnect with yourself and the world around you. When you feel overwhelmed, put your feet on the ground, literally, and breathe deeply. It's also important to find a supportive community. There are others who have walked this path and understand what you're going through. Seek them out. Share your experiences and listen to theirs. At the same time, give yourself permission to distance yourself from people who don't understand or who try to fix you. This is your journey, and you don't owe anyone an explanation. Finally, embrace solitude. Awakening often requires periods of isolation, not as a punishment, but as an opportunity to reconnect with your true self. Use this time to journal, reflect, and release anything that no longer serves you. Let go of old habits, relationships, and beliefs that feel heavy. Trust that what's meant for you will stay, and what's not will fall away. If you're still with me, let me remind you, this isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning. Yes, this process is challenging, but it's also the most transformative journey you'll ever take. On the other side of this awakening is a deeper sense of peace and purpose. You'll find a freedom that comes from living authentically, without fear or pretense. Awakening isn't just about you. It's about raising the collective consciousness of humanity. By transforming yourself, you're contributing to a larger shift in the world. You're like a seed breaking open in the soil. It's dark and messy, but soon you'll grow into a tree that reaches for the sky. You're not crazy. You're courageous. You're not broken. You're breaking free. And you're not alone. Every awakened soul has walked this path before you. Take a deep breath and trust the process. You are exactly where you need to be. Repeat after me. I am not crazy. I am awakening. I am becoming who I was always meant to be. Hold on to that truth as you move forward. This journey is messy, but it's worth it. Keep going. You've got this. Namaste.